Being here. First of all, I'd like to say to members of the media, you've been patient, you've been respectful, and I want you to know it's been noticed and appreciated. Thank you. I'm going to release some additional information, some updates on the incident from last night. I will read a statement. Mayor Warren will speak, and the president of the Locust Club, Mike Mazzio, will say a few words. I'm going to tell you right now, I will not be addressing now, nor will I answer any questions regarding the case or the investigation. Later today, we will have another press conference jointly with the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, and we will go into much more detail about the status of the investigation in the case. Right now, we're here to talk about the police officers. At about 9:25 p.m. last night, Officer Darrell R. Pearson was shot and killed pursuing a suspect at 955 Hudson Avenue in the city of Rochester. Officer Pearson was hired by the Rochester Police Department on August 21st, 2006. He was assigned to our tactical unit. During his 8-year career as a police officer for the city of Rochester, Officer Pearson served with bravery and distinction and received the following awards and commendations: 11 Chief's Letters of Recognition, most of which were for removing illegal firearms from the streets of Rochester. He received the Rochester Police Department's Officer of the Month Award for September 2010. He also received the Rochester Police Department's Good Conduct Award given to Officer Pearson in 2013. Officer Pearson was also a member of the United States Army National Guard. Officer Pearson leaves behind a wife and 2 children whose ages are 4 years old and 3 months old. He was 32. Officer Pearson's partner last night was Officer Michael DePaula. Officer DePaula returned fire, wounded the suspect, and apprehended him. Officer DePaula was hired by the Rochester Police Department on July 30th, 2007. He is also assigned to our tactical unit. During his 7-year career as a police officer for the city of Rochester, Officer DePaula received the following awards: 2 Chief's Letters of Recognition and the Rochester Police Department's Excellent Police Service Award for actions taken by him in rescuing the occupants of a burning vehicle. Officer DePaula is a member of the United States Army Reserve, and he is 41 years of age. As I mentioned, at this time we will not be taking any questions. Later today, we will do another press update jointly with the Monroe County District Attorney's Office in order to provide you with more details regarding this incident and the status of the investigation. Words cannot express the sadness and grief we all feel at the loss of our brother, Officer Darrell Pearson. Darrell made the ultimate sacrifice by courageously giving his life protecting the city of Rochester. During this difficult time, I know that the Rochester community will join together with us to honor our fallen comrade and to support his family. Darrell's sacrifice is a reflection and a reminder of the dangers that all police officers face each and every day. I thank and honor all of our Rochester police officers for their courage and dedication. Please keep Darrell and his family and loved ones in your thoughts and prayers. I'm now going to turn this over to Investigator Mike Mazzio, President of the Rochester Police Locust Club.
Chief, Mayor. Our heart is heavy. We've lost a brother. We're a close-knit family, and this is a difficult time for all of us. The outpour of support and words have been tremendous, and every single one of them help us as we start to heal. We are encouraged by that support, and I think the recognition and the faith that the community has in what we do. I hope that these next few days can be as painless as possible for a family who's lost a loved one. But that's not really going to be the case. What our goal is, what we're going to do, is stand close together, brothers and sisters, as we heal going forward. We have not only a brother that's been down, but a brother that's involved, and we wish any help and assistance we can, and we're hopeful that the community can allow us this period of time as we continue forward in our grievance. Thank you.
Today, I join with Chief Simonelli, President Mazzio, RPD, the citizens of Rochester, and the family of Officer Pearson in mourning this tragic event. An innocent bystander was shot, and Officer Pearson, a man with young children, lost his life, defending each and every one of us. As I was getting my daughter dressed for school today, I began to think about how often I take for granted the fact that I'm returning home to my family safely at night. I began to think about, as a community, how often we put on our work clothes and walk out our front door freely, without the thought ever crossing our mind that we would not be doing the same thing the day after that and the day after that. Then I began to think about Officer Pearson, the brave men and women of our police department who put on their uniform every day. And I wondered if it ever crossed their mind as they got dressed and sent their kids off to school and kissed their loved ones that they wouldn't be returning. I concluded that it must. It must. But they are dedicated people, dedicated to the fellow men and women that they serve with, dedicated to the great people of our city. And that is why, in spite of that thought crossing their mind, they put on a uniform and walk out the front door to a day of service. To his wife, there are no words that can diminish your pain. And to his children, there is no explanation that can be given to ease the hurt that you feel. As a mother, this tragedy goes to the core of all of our greatest fears. I ask the people of our community, the citizens of Rochester, to understand the great sacrifice that Officer Pearson made last night. He lost his life trying to protect and to serve. There are few incidents that change the course of a city, and I'm praying that this one pulls this community together, that we stand united in seeking justice, that we stand united in showing compassion to the men and women of our police department. I ask the citizens of our community to stop when you see an officer today and every day from this day forward, and take a moment to walk in their shoes, and then reach out and shake their hand or give them a hug and thank them for their service. Tell them that they are not in this alone, and show them compassion. To the people who want to disrupt this city, it is unrealistic for any of us to believe that we can stop you from making a tragic decision to pull the trigger. However, I promise you that if you decide to pull that trigger, you will be held accountable. This administration will not sit by and idly watch you wreak havoc on our city. We will utilize the tools available to us to ensure that justice is served and that you are prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Thus, I'm calling on our state leaders to work with me to review the policies as it pertains to the release of parolees into our community. In the near future, I, along with Chief Simonelli, will put together a meeting with other law enforcement officials and agencies to put a renewed emphasis on getting illegal guns off of our streets, with the help of our religious leaders in Project Exile. As a mother of a young daughter and the leader of this great city, the threat of illegal guns on our street and the threat that they pose to our family and to our children and to our citizens will not be tolerated. Our forthcoming efforts will be done with Officer Pearson, his wife, his children in the forefront of our mind to ensure that justice is served and that he did not die in vain, and to make this community safer for our officers and for our citizens alike. Thank you.
Okay, as I said, I'll take a few questions. However, I will not answer any questions regarding the status of the investigation. Yes?
Chief, just hearing from other police officers, they praised the response of the officers who helped Officer Pearson. I don't know if that's something you can speak of.
Yeah, I can talk about that a little bit. The officer obviously received a grievous wound, and other officers carried him and got him in a car and got him to Rochester General as quickly as they could. We'll be talking more about this later. Obviously, we've all been here since 9 o'clock last night, but I will acknowledge now the absolute fury with which the personnel of Rochester General Emergency worked this case and tried to pull off a miracle, which was not to be. So I had occasion to speak with the lead doctor, and I can tell you that they feel this very, very deeply, and you know that we're grateful for the efforts they did make. We're grateful for all our brother and sister law enforcement officers from other agencies. We've been deluged with offers of assistance, help, which we will be needing. So.
Is there any kind of formal plan in place that helps you kind of deal with something like this?
Yes, we actually we have a written protocol for a critical incident like this, not only to handle the investigation, but to handle the aftermath, to support the family, to support our officers. You know, so that's part of our planning and preparation process that prepares us. So, you know, we do have written plans and protocols to guide us now.
Can you talk a little bit more about Officer Pearson? You mentioned that he was a very exemplary officer with a number of awards. Can you talk a little bit more about his contributions to the RPD?
Well, I think it speaks for itself. I think the irony that this officer put his life on the line many times in the past, and in fact was recognized for taking 10 illegal guns off the street himself over the course of his career, I think speaks volumes for what kind of officer he was and what he did every day and every night to protect the people of this city. So I really think that speaks for itself. Are there any other questions I can answer now? Okay, thank you.
Can you talk at all about the suspect, his wounds, or his identity?
I'm not going to release anything about that. The suspect received a non-life-threatening wound. The investigation continues, and as I said, we will give you plenty of notice. I will be coming back here with District Attorney Sandra Dorley some point later today, and we will go into much more detail about the sequence of events, what happened, the status of the investigation. So I'm just going to ask for your patience. At this time, we want to be careful. We want to be comfortable that anything we say is factually accurate, and we don't want to say anything that's going to compromise the integrity of this investigation so that this individual will be brought to the justice that he deserves. So when the time is appropriate, we will answer your questions.
Can you tell us how the bystander is doing?
My understanding, it's a non-life-threatening wound, and we will try to have more information on that for you also.
Are you able to spell the other officer's name?
Yeah, we have a written press release with all this that will be handed out. Everything that I said will be on there, including the names.
Chief, what do you tell your police officers in a time like this?
You know, honestly, I spoke to officers last night at the hospital. We gathered all our on-duty officers here. Myself and the two deputy chiefs, I'm going to every roll call and talking to every officer we can, and frankly, I've run out of words. You've heard reference to the law enforcement family. This is truly a family. And I think everybody, I cannot, you know, say it better than the mayor eloquently said it, that, and the fact is, yes, when we put on this uniform and go to work, we do think about maybe we're not coming back. And I think that is the intrinsic value of police officers in our community, that despite those thoughts, despite their love for their family, they put on this uniform and they do go out there and protect the city every day, every night. And I honestly have run out of words to say. I mean, we all need each other now. We will get through this, and I can tell you again that the absolute outpouring of support, love, and compassion that we're getting from the community is what helps us get through this, as well as being together and taking care of each other.
Chief, is the bystander, is that something you can address later? Or?
I will address that later to the extent that we have information. And again, as you can imagine, this event only happened a few hours ago. It is a very complex investigation. We are still locating and interviewing witnesses. We are still gathering and analyzing physical evidence and a number of other investigative tasks. So I will try to be as thorough as I can within the limits of what we can release, you know, based on advice from the district attorney later today.
How are the rest of the officers handling the information that you've shared with them?
Well, again, I think it kind of speaks for itself. I mean, there's shock, there's disbelief, and you know, I think in the last 5 years, at least 5 Rochester police officers have been shot. We through, in some cases, some probably miraculous intervention, we have not, no chief of the Rochester Police Department, I think for the last, 59 or 6 years, had to come up here, and we have lost officers. One in a scuba officer in a drowning incident. We've lost officers to heart attacks and other things. This is the first time an officer has been shot and killed in the line of duty, I think, since 1959, maybe. And this is, you know, we do have plans, and we talk about this, we prepare, we train for it, but you can't train for how you're going to feel in a situation like this. So, but I will say this. Before this happened, the Rochester Police Department was out there doing its job and protecting the city. During this event, the Rochester Police Department was out there doing its job protecting the city. And now, the Rochester Police Department is out there protecting the city. We will not be deterred. We will not be stopped. We will honor our fallen comrade by making this a better city and a better community. All right, thank you.
Thank you.